Welcome to the A Better Black American Talk radio show. I'm your host, Bushan Glover, and today is July 22nd, 2024. There's a lot to unpack. There's a whole lot to unpack, but we're going to keep it simple. You know, we love that KISS method. You know, the caption says, Biden is out. So Trump versus Harris with a question mark, because we have no clue of what the next move is, because things has been happening so fast and things change. Because when Biden said that he wasn't going to step down, and then all of a sudden he steps down and he endorses Harris. I mean, the Democratic Party that's the Civil War. Because there's a lot of Democrats that's not with it. There's a lot of Democrats that's not supporting the Harris. She has to fundraise, and she has to talk to a lot of senators and congressmen, and I think they need that money, that 95 or that 91 million dollars that they have stored up. But my thing is, man, I think Biden should just go ahead and step down and allow her to be the president right now, and by default. And they do listen to us. I spoke to a few people who really understand and know what's going on, that Biden need to step down and allow her to be the president right now. And I would say by default, she would actually get the nominee or the nomination. But if she has to earn the votes, they push back the Democratic convention back to August 19th. So we don't know if the states are going to give her the delegates. So Biden is out. Trump versus Harris. We really don't know what's going on. And as we speak, Secret Service, the director of the Secret Service is being grilled right now by Congress, because how is this possible that an individual, a 20-year-old, can get on a shed and shoot off some rounds at a former president? And the intelligence came back that the Trump administration has been denied extra security by the Secret Service on several accounts. And in the beginning, they said that that was not true. But, you know, you can't lie these days. It's just a matter of time. And just like the world we living in, he who laughs last laughs best. Because when I heard that Joe Biden stepped down, after hearing and going through social media with my friends and family members, I don't care, you know, if he poops his pants, and, you know, I'm with Biden. Let me see. Biden is better than Trump. We got to beat Trump. I'm with Biden. I'm with Biden. And now all of a sudden, these same individuals have to push that narrative in terms of trying to get us to vote for Kamala Harris. And that's the craziest thing ever, because she might not even win the state of California. She's that unpopular that she might not even win the state of California. So I don't know. The Democrats are pretty much testing the temperature. And the reason why that they are, you know, these congressmen and senators are backing Harris as a presidential campaign is because that's the only way that they can get access to the $90 million that Biden already stored up. And that's the reason why. And anything outside of that, we got to understand it, because Obama is not endorsing. And then there may be another Democrat that wants to run. See, when you lie, cheat, and steal, we did not have a Democratic primary. They just gave us Joe. So maybe this was the play. Maybe we're late. Maybe this was the play, because how all of a sudden Joe Biden steps down and Kamala Harris is just walking into a presidential campaign, just a month before the Democratic convention. But this is the craziest thing, because I know pastors, you know, there's an entire generation that will not support Harris as the president. She was pretty much the top cop here in California. And for the first time in history, some of the political strategists are saying that California might go purple. And when you say purple, that's a mixture between blue and red, because California is a deep blue state. Deep blue, very liberal. But when you think about putting somebody like Kamala Harris, who's who would say left-wing extremist on the ballot, then this is when you have controversy, because there's an entire generation that will not support her. She was, you know, the top cop. Okay, she was the attorney general. She is on record for locking up more black and brown men than pretty much any elected official in American history. And I guess they really want to go down this street because as vice president, she was protected. She was the border czar, but never went to the border. And the only reason that Joe Biden's campaign put her on, the ticket with Joe is because in that primary, when she basically called him out as being a racist, called him out as being the individual who voted against busing, called him out as individual and questioned his integrity. And then next thing you know, he was making a phone call. I would like to have you as my vice president. And she sounded like Halle Berry on Monsters Ball. We did it, Joe. Oh, Joe, come on, listen. Kamala Harris will not be, and I'm going to go on record, and I hope that I'm wrong. She will not be the Democratic nominee because they're going to get so much backlash leading up into the Democratic convention that, they go by the numbers, their strategists. They're going to have to find somebody else. And one individual that in my mind could have been competition for Trump was the state, California's governor, Gavin Newsom. But he made sure that he will not and would not be a vice presidential candidate or a candidate for president because of what he signed last Monday. And it was Assembly Bill 1955. And in the state of California, Assembly Bill 1955 is a bill that does not require teachers to tell the parents of the students' sexual orientation. So if you got a son going to school and then in elementary school, first, second, third grade, wearing a dress, putting on makeup, haven't even experienced puberty or anything like that, the teachers are not required to tell the parent. But if the child act out in class, if he's talking when he's not talked to, if he basically leaves the classroom, if he does anything, or if he gets a C- on the test, any reasonable teacher would actually call the parent and basically communicate and, tell the parent what's going on with the child. But if your child is trying to change his sexual orientation, Gavin Newsom signed an Assembly Bill 1955 that says the teachers are not required to do so. And how is this possible? Our kids spend more time with teachers than they do with us. So the teachers in elementary school, especially the liberals and the members of the alphabet crew, basically are grooming our children to be, what they want them to be. And this is not cool. This is not right. But I believe he signed that bill because on a national scale, it would not, trend well on a national scale because you have a lot of conservatives out there that will not support these liberal bills. And then they talk about the Project 2025. And we're going to basically hit those notifications because we're going to basically peel that back like a banana because they are scaring the Democratic Party because they use fear tactics. And just to keep it simple, Project 2025, any of those issues or requests or mandates have to go through what we call checks and balances. It has to go through Congress. So I don't know why they're doing that, but they understand that they could scare the baby boomers, that they could scare the alphabet crew, but they can't scare men and women of God. So this is what we're dealing with. So Kamala Harris is getting endorsed by Joe Biden, which doesn't mean anything. Okay, he can endorse her. He's confused, but I really can't fathom that. And who would be her running mate? Can she beat Donald Trump? I don't think so. Hillary Clinton was the one that had the best chance to beat Donald Trump in a presidential election, and she actually lost. Think about that. So now you got Kamala Harris. And I'm going to go ahead, when you become, a presidential candidate, when you try to get to that next level, your background, you get scrutinized because Kamala Harris screwed her way to the top. If you did not know, she used to date Montel Williams. Montel Williams was a TV personality. He had the Montel Williams show, and he was basically, grooming her to be successful. And then when she, became a public defender, and then got in the prosecution's office, she started being the side piece of Willie Brown. Willie Brown was the mayor of San Francisco, and that was his side piece. Willie Brown was married, had a wife, but he was smashing Kamala Harris. And there's a whole bunch of brothers that went to the Howard University that could tell the same story, but I'm sure she's put, since she's been vice president, she put gag orders on them, just like Willie Brown said when she became attorney general. And on the 2014 article, USA Today, Willie Brown basically told the story, and the reporter who was reporting on the journalist asked Willie Brown, did he help her in her campaign? And he said, absolutely. You know, I motivated her, I encouraged her while I was smashing. And then I basically gave her $240,000 to start her campaign. And he lobbied for, and he was the mayor of San Francisco. And this is what we are dealing with right now. Woman who do not identify as black, but she went to Howard University, which is one of the most prestigious HBCUs. She dated these black men when it comes to Montel Williams and Willie Brown, the mayor of San Francisco. Think about that. And then all of a sudden, when and then she does not have any biological children. So a black woman, so, you know, the black experience, she has no biological children. She smashed her way to the top, and she wants the black vote. Think about that. Now, the only way you can understand if, you know, the black struggle here in the United States is if you, number one, have children by blacks, okay, have a black child, that will give you some sentiment. And then if you are married to a black man, because she's married Doug, not black Doug, white Jewish Doug, okay? And that is the most corniest relationship that I've ever seen. So I don't understand how, you know, we can actually be living in a time where we supposed to be elevating and thriving as a nation. And clearly it looks like we've been played. You know, the late great Malcolm X will say we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray. And this is why we're running amok, because this is the strangest thing. There's no way that I can see or fathom Kamala Harris being the president of the most powerful nation in the world. And when you pretty much put a woman in charge, okay, she has handlers. Okay, Willie Lynch said it himself, and he basically said, once we get that woman in a house with us, and he was referring to the bed wenching concubines. So now we're clearly looking at a bed wench. We're clearly looking at a concubine, and then you can add another layer because Massa slept with the slaves and had biracial children. So clearly Joe Biden metaphorically is looking at a situation where he has a biracial daughter who does not identify as being black. See, the mission for Black America is to be championed. And there's no way we can be championed as a race if we fall for these ethnicities that they gave us. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was the catalyst, and we really understand that because it's time for African Americans to become black again. Because I had a conversation, a gay black dude looked at me and said, see, you African American. I'm like, well, I'm black. He said, well, I'm not black. I'm not African American. I'm gay. And I sat back and I said, wow. They created an entire culture, but somehow has put us in the midst of it. So this is crazy. So when you look at America for what it is, there's no way Kamala Harris could beat Trump after what happened. We all saw the RNC look like a victory party. I mean, come on. He was introduced by Dana White. Chris Rock performed. The Hulk Hogan was the Trumpsters and all of that. And then he got a VP by the name of JD Vance, who's literally, resonate more in the black community because at the convention, he said that his biological mother has been sober for 10 years. So when you look at the experience of Trump being who he is, the messiah of the Republican Party, think about that, a rock star, a living legend. And then you look at JD Vance, and then you look at how they would resonate with common Americans as what I would say, 34 felons. And then his VP is a crack baby. Think about that. Going against a prosecutor. You can't make this up. So God is in the midst, and God is basically showing us at the end of the day, democracy is dead. And when I say democracy is dead, I mean the America is a constitutional republic, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. America is a constitutional republic. It is not a democracy. Democracy tried to blow the head off of a presidential candidate, not only a presidential candidate, a former president, as well as the front runner on every poll, tried to blow his head off. And then all of a sudden they missed. Then Joe Biden gets, COVID. They wanted to shut him up. And then next thing you know, he steps out. And now we got a top cop, Kamala Harris, running for president, a prosecutor who prosecuted more black and brown men in the history of any elected official. And that's fact. You can fact check that. And then if you really want to understand, when they started deregulating, marijuana charges, and they started clearing the prisons out because the prison population, she basically signed or blocked every bill that will expunge or allow men, nonviolent criminals, out of jail. And she said California wants that free labor. And when you say free labor, think about it. The 13th Amendment says neither slavery nor voluntary servitude unless criminalized. So the criminalization clause is a slavery clause. So when they sit back and say, Kamala Harris, we got to stand behind her so we could beat Trump. OK, we want to beat crime. When they say Kamala Harris can beat Trump, we want to beat poverty. OK, we want to beat the terrible public school education system. So what I'm saying is it's not flesh and blood, it's powers, principalities, evildoers in high places. So this is our opportunity as Americans. And when I say Americans, all Americans, red, Indians, blacks, whites, and like I said, I came up with the acronym BLACK. OK, and that acronym is Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian, Kinsman. So I'm saying is we got to come together as a people, and you guys got to help us close the chapter on race here in America, because America doubled down on sex and put race on the back burner. This is why the women's live movement, is thriving. This is why they keep adding alphabets to the alphabet crew, because they are banking on us to basically just diminish and go away. But we're here. We're here. So we get an opportunity, especially black Americans and black men. We get an opportunity to show America's shim democracy, more importantly, the Democratic Party, that we're going to break the cycle and break the chains. And like I said, we're not going to vote for Donald Trump, but game recognized game. We will help him win, because we know without a shadow of a doubt, if he becomes the 47th president of the United States on Inauguration Day, if the black delegation, step out of the party of slavery and stand on its own merit, we can actually cut a new deal. And then the descendants of the transatlantic slave can actually slap in the face the party of slavery. Because this is the perfect moment. I'll call this the perfect storm. I call this the perfect storm, because how in the heck do you think you could put a substitute on the ballot to beat Donald J. Trump after what happened, after the attempted assassination, after the Republican convention, because the Democratic Party standing alone? And we will dissect Project 2025 to basically take the fear out of it, because nothing can happen in the United States of America without what we call checks and balances. And that's the House of Congress. And that includes the Congress and the Senate and the president signing these things into law. And when you think about the bedwench and concubine, master's daughter running as a presidential candidate, the third party coalition has just gotten stronger, because the third party coalition will, lead the assist of getting rid of the Democratic Party, because democracy is dead. And if you did not know, Joe Biden is going to go down in American history as the first sitting president to ever be in hospice care. That man is in hospice care. This is what the problem is. It's elderly abuse. He's literally in hospice care. And then he does have a clause, do not resuscitate. So meaning if they go in his bedroom and he's having trouble breathing, they are under assignment allegedly to not resuscitate. Because we are watching a human being diminish at a rapid rate. And then when he says Donald Trump is just 3 years younger than me, but he does not have the symptoms of Alzheimer's and he's fit for his age. Now, he might tell a few stories, he might plagiarize a little bit, but at the end of the day, clearly, we saw the debate, so you can't, hang with that. So, but in terms of Joe Biden, I mean, he's diminishing before our eyes. Okay. And it looks like that they made a decision, and they told him after that assassination, hey, we're going to give you, COVID-19. How is it that he the only one that got it? And the day of, he was in Las Vegas talking to the NAACP. Yeah, the blacks, well, no, the African Americans who sold out and sold their souls, and shaking hands and walking around looking old and elderly. And all of a sudden he got COVID and there was no outbreak where he was. And then when he got off the plane, walking slow, delusional, not knowing where he's going, didn't even have a mask. And I watched him come down the short stairs from Air Force One, get into, the presidential car. And one of the Secret Service literally had to pick his feet up to put him in a car. And I sat back and said, wow, he won't make it through the weekend. And he didn't. He didn't. Okay. And then you have individuals like Maxine Waters talking about, I'm older than him. That's not a good thing, because if we could break the chains of democracy, we might have term limits for our senators, Congress, and elected officials, because we have to have a leader that's willing to lead. We have to have a leader that has enough weight, whether you like him or not, to call any of the other leaders around this nation to pull up, to have a meeting, to talk to. Biden can't have a meeting with Putin. Kim Jong-un is not going to talk to Biden. You see, when you have weakness in office, look at all the wars. And then they basically fact check the, Trump's victory speech literally at the RNC. And they said, one of the ones that stuck out to me, they said, and he said that, if he was president, that there would not be any wars, and we don't have no evidence of that. Well, we got 4 years of evidence basically stating that, or showing data that the world was a safe space. The world was peaceful. The world was kind of all right. So now that you got the bedwenching concubine and master's daughter running against a president, and she's got probably the lowest approval rating as a VP. She's the border czar and never been to the border. And then you think about it, does she qualify as a president when she does not have presidential experience? Her opponent has 4 years of experience. Her opponent has 4 years of getting this country intact. And like I said, I'm a nonpartisan independent, so I'm literally the mediator between the two, and I have to call it like I see it. Okay, conservatives got their thing together. Liberals are literally trying to ruin the world and ruin your children. And this is why Gavin Newsom last Monday signed Assembly Bill 1955, which mandates that a teacher does not have to tell the parent about their sexual orientation. And at the end of the day, why are we dealing with sexual orientation before puberty? Let these kids live. Let them be who they are. But they want to play with these kids' sexuality and do all of these things. And this is why I got an issue with Dwayne Wade, pushing an agenda, because this thing is weird. And things are coming out and saying that he's gay. Okay, that's Dwayne Wade, because they give him a beard. Okay, when I say a beard, meaning they give him a celebrity or somebody that can actually make him a family and, whatever. But he's turned out his own child. Okay, he's turning his child into a transgender, which, like I said, you could do what you want to do, but you're not finna sit back and act as if that's the way to go. Because if we're talking about making America, a prosperous nation, why can't we go back to when we had standards, when a man was a man and a woman was a woman? So at the end of the day, you third party options, there's a never, listen, the worst thing that they can do, and I'm going on record, and I'm really being totally and brutally honest. The worst thing that they could do is give those nominations in the Democratic convention to Kamala Harris, because what I'm saying is democracy is dead. Joe Biden is literally killing it. And if you wanted to die forever, and you want to have the worst defeat in the history and ruin, people's careers, they're going to take the House. They're going to take Congress. They're going to take the Senate, and then they're going to win the presidency. And this is a crazy thing. He's going to win, the Electoral College, and he's going to win the popular vote, because Kamala Harris is the worst president that, or the worst presidential candidate you can actually put on the ticket. Because I know pastors, preachers, and teachers, and mothers, black men, black women that will not support her. They're literally anti her. But we do understand that the vice president has to resonate. So when Joe Biden picked her as a candidate, it was strategic, because she's a Divine Nine member. She could pull that coalition together. Our black elites. She's married to Doug, not Black Doug, who's Jewish, so she can raise money and get that Jewish money from Hollywood. And then they love the LGBTQ card, because if you pay attention, they had the rainbow party at the White House. Doug was sitting next to a black man with a beard, heels, and a sequence dress, acting like that was how it's supposed to be. And I'm wondering, where the black men at? Where's the black delegation? Where we at? Why they won't invite us? They don't love us. But we understand, when you are a bedwench concubine, master's daughter, you look out the window and you see the black slaves outside, and we looking at you trying to, get up in the house. You're not going to let us in the house because you in there comfortable. And then you got the baby boomers, the old slaves in there who pretty much serve master. Because if you look at Jim Clyburn, he basically looked exactly like Samuel L. Jackson's character in the movie Django. And then we want to sit back and throw stones, but he who laughed last, laughs best. Think about that. They always want to put out that rhetoric. And just like when the Trump assassination attempt, they really tried to put out that madness. When I say madness, it was fake and it was staged. They let all of that stuff go viral. But all of a sudden now, the director of the Secret Service is in Washington right now getting grilled, by the Senate right now. And then we're learning and understanding that the Secret Service, which is Biden's Secret Service, is pretty much going to be under scrutiny right now, because they allowed this assassination. Okay. And when I say allowed this assassination attempt, they pretty much contracted a third party contractor to pretty much, secure the perimeter. And this is fact right here. To secure the perimeter of in Texas. In Pennsylvania. And they contracted the local law enforcement. So outside of the perimeter, local law enforcement was outside the perimeter. They staged the shed that the young assassin was on. That was the command post for the security, which was housing the local law enforcement. So when you think about a shed, it's loud. If you get on the shed, you can fall through. You can hear, even when somebody get on your roof at, in your home, on a single story home, you will hear footsteps and you will go outside. Who's on my roof? But for whatever reason, they stood down. In all the videos that we see, it was outside of the perimeter. They're literally telling individuals, look, there's a shooter up there, and they had orders to stand down. And if you did not know, that town that they did the rally in is a chicken and cow town. So if you can offer a bag, they'll be willing to do whatever. And they talking about he flew a drone. He was allowed to fly a drone. He cased the joint. He had spotters. He was walking around, and then he pretty much got on top of the shed, fired off some rounds. And by the grace of God, what Trump said, and I'm taking, these words out of Trump, and he said he looked at his beautiful chart about the southern border, and he turned his head and he heard whizzing and felt a sharp pain. And then when he got up, a lot of people say, they say this, like with my fist, it's a black fist. But what other symbol can you use, okay, when you are in a fight? Okay, if you're playing football, you like, yeah, you what else symbol? Oh, he put up the black fist. We don't own that fist. Okay. This is Hitler. He put the hand out flat. But when he was saying fight, that was an adrenaline rush when that man was on the ground, more than likely praying to God Almighty, and felt a comfort And when he got up, that's adrenaline. We gonna fight. And that basically made him a rock star. And whether Joe Biden was cognitive or not, that pretty much was the election right there. Okay, whether Joe Biden was cognitive or not, that pretty much won the election. When that man walked off that stage with a bloody ear, with fist pumping, when pictures of the American flag, these pictures are going to go down in history. And I know a lot of people are going to go in that ballot, in the ballot box, and vote for him because, you know, they want a winner. Okay, but we're going to have a third party coalition. And I knew something was wrong when Joe Biden pretty much had the conversation. You know, he went live and he pretty much said, you know, we shouldn't be shooting individuals, you know, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, instead of saying we got to fight in the ballot box, he said the battle box. And then he said it again. And this is when they said, man, we got to find something, because Joe said, if my doctors tell me to step down, I'll step down. So they found a doctor to get that man, you know, a hot cocktail, and somehow he got COVID. And now the doctors are saying you're not fit to run anymore. Okay. So if we really understand what's going on, listen, Trump's going to win by a landslide. Okay. And we as blacks, we got to exit this burning house. We're not going to support the Democratic Party when it comes to this presidential nominee. This will be the worst presidential candidate in the history of America. You got a bed-wenching concubine, Massa's daughter, an individual who does not even identify as a black woman. Okay, so we got a red dot in there, married to a Jewish man, running for president of the United States as a Democrat. Just think about it. The Democrats. Now, the party is not the party of yesterday. Now, this is when it confuses me when they sit back and say the Republicans are the racist ones and all of that. But racist people can change. The Democratic Party was the party of slavery. Now, all of a sudden, you got all these queers, gays, blacks, Asian, all of these individuals in a party. So what that means is they lost the party. Okay, party over. Because you got individuals, and it's crazy from my perspective, it is crazy to see individuals saying, you know, I'm going to stand with Joe. I'm going to stand with Joe. And then all of a sudden, these same individuals saying, you know, they support Harris. So we don't want a party. OK, we like Fabulous, and the Democratic Party is puffy. You know, we don't want to party with y'all no more. We up out of here. You know, we're going to write in our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and we're going to rig the election because we want and we need Donald J. Trump to be president of the United States of America. Because the substitute teachers, we're not doing that. We're not doing no bed-wenching concubine. You're talking about a woman whose whole career is predicated on locking up brothers. Think about that. Ain't no black man finna support her. And if the NAACP, you know, endorses her, that's because they gave them a bag. And look how crazy E40 and Fat Joe look when they went to Raleigh, South Carolina, or Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm not sure which one of the Carolinas, but in Raleigh, in the Carolinas, E40 went on record and basically said that he's supporting Joe and he's standing on it. Now, he's from the Bay Area. And he knows the history of Kamala Harris in the Bay Area. So now are you going to support her? Think about that. Y'all been hoodwinked, bamboos. We've been trying to wake y'all up for a very long time. We've been woke. This is the perfect storm. This is our opportunity to change history. Okay, because the Democratic Party will, as we know it, will die on the 5th of November. Okay. Because democracy is dead. Democracy tried to blow the head off of the former president and the front runner of the presidency. And democracy has been locking up black men with the 94 crime bill. Democracy got your child, can keep a secret. He can leave a house in jeans and tennis shoes, but he could go to class and put on a dress. And Gavin Newsom put a bill out there, Assembly Bill 1955, where the teacher don't even have to tell the parents. That's democracy. Democracy is the alphabet crew, which is the LBGTQ LMNOP party. The democracy is having, I'm 6'3", Democracy is having a man 6'5" say he's a woman and go smoke your daughter in a track meet or in a swimming event. That's democracy. Democracy changed black Americans, Negroes, to an ethnicity, and democracy has invested in sex and has left the race card on the table for us to pick up the mantle as black Americans. I'm not an African American. African American is an ethnicity. I've never been to Africa and do not have a desire to go. So how can I be two continents? I can't be an African or American. I'm a American. My ancestors has been documented. I'm saying documented for going over, our 400-year birthday will be this year. Okay. And the science of Willie Lynch, he said we could do this for hundreds, if not thousands of years. The Democratic Southerner, the racist Lyndon B. Johnson said, I'm going to go ahead and do the Civil Rights Acts, do the Voting Rights Acts, and I'm going to have these niggas voting Democratic for the next 200 years. Okay? But game over. Game over. Because how can we sit back and continue to deliver our children's to this madness? So theocracy will be replacing democracy, and the black man have to take the lead. And if we do this correctly, our woman is going to come with us, because they could have our parents and our grandparents and they gay ass and lesbian grandkids. They could have them. Okay. Because at the end of the day, once it's said and done and it's all over, they're going to realize that their race is their grace. Okay. How can we have white supremacy. How can we not have a supreme of blackness that will be respected? This is why they can do what they do. Because if we had a black delegation, a black community that had respect, we can actually cut a new deal. And you can do what you do. You can be racist or whatever, but you're going to respect us and what we're doing. And at the end of the day, this country is green. And if we can, organize as a culture, and allow our communities to get rid of crime and get rid of poverty and start educating our families and, and marrying our black daughters and having babies and having families, we will be respected. OK, but somehow, some way, the Democratic Party know without a shadow of a doubt, if they keep us broke, busted and disgusted, they can actually continue to kill the middle class, give the bottom dwellers a few dollars so they can actually, continue to vote. The Democratic Party gave me some food stamps. But if you're working hard and paying your taxes, it's literally like, what's really going on? So for America to thrive, we're going to have to end racism. We're going to have to end racism. And I see y'all comments. Because, this thing is crazy. Trump's going to win. There's no, like I said, I can't see him not winning. And the only way that they can actually defeat their opponents, and that's democracy, is pretty much another assassination attempt. Because the Secret Service have went on record and said they've denied extra security details for Trump. And now we see what happened, because this third party or this contractor, local law enforcement that was there to protect the perimeter, somehow they got in their heads, and somehow they allowed this thing to happen. And a whole lot of people going to have these conversations and talk about it, because that's real. But Biden is out. Trump versus Harris, and the worst thing that they can do is put Harris on the ticket. I mean, come on, man. She's a weird female, no disrespect to her, but she does not have the temperament for a president. She's goofy. She pretty much she's not a people person. She's an amazing prosecutor. She's an amazing lawyer. Okay, but that is not the prerequisite to be president of the United States. You got to have charisma. You got to have style. You got to have class. You got to have likability. People are supposed to like you around the country. Okay, this is why they have the Electoral College, because if we didn't have the Electoral College, they could put all their money into the state of New York and the state of California. She could win a popular vote just because of population. But this is why she's going to have to resonate in Iowa. Can you imagine Kamala Harris in the Iowa caucuses? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine her going through Arkansas? Can you imagine her going through Alabama? Can you imagine her going to Louisiana and rural towns? Could you imagine that? It's going to be a slaughter. So what they need to do is figure this thing out, and have a real convention and somehow come up with a super squad. If you want to compete, because I know without a shadow of a doubt they're not going to beat him. But if you want to make it close, y'all gonna have to figure this out. Because could you imagine, like, who would run as a running mate? Think about that. If think about any Democratic elected liberal that has not gone on record demonized the Republican Party. Think about that. So how can they even talk about unifying the country? How can they even talk about that? Unifying the country. When I watched the RNC, I enjoyed myself, especially on the last day. I enjoyed Hulk Hogan. I enjoyed Kid Rock. I enjoyed the singer. I don't know his name, but I'm proud to be an American. Loved it. And then when Dana White came out, UFC. And then when Trump's Beautiful Family came out, and I saw people in the crowd, rocking the little bandage. It reminded me of individuals used to put the Band-Aid on their face to copy Nelly. But what I'm saying is, I know why these liberals don't like Trump and his family. This is a rich man, okay, a businessman, and his family's beautiful. Melania, beautiful. His daughters, beautiful. His sons standing all statuesque and family. And I've clowned around with some of my friends and said, man, if it was me up there, if I won, man, we got to pick auntie up, pull her chair up. We got an OG uncle that would have been limping on the stage. We got weird people who've been looking funny. But this is the American dream that they cannot capture. This is why they're trying to do what they do. And democracy gets rid of and eliminates its competition. This is what democracy is. When they talk about cancel culture, that's democracy. And shame on you, to you black females, to you baby boomers who was pushing the Joe Biden card. And now all of a sudden, y'all just flipped up. And now y'all want to push Kamala Harris, the worst president, which will possibly be, because they got the Democratic convention coming up on the 19th. They pushed it back, which will be the worst presidential candidate in American history. Okay. And like I said, she wouldn't be the first black woman, none of that, because she does not identify as black. Okay. She's whatever she is, but she's not a black woman. And this will be the worst. And it will be, like I said, I predict that Trump, if she is on a ticket, and no matter who they bring up at this point in time, the Republicans are united. Okay. So now, the stats say that Joe Biden is the only one that could have beat Trump. Who else could beat Trump? And why I don't see the Cory Bookers of the world. Where's the squad at? Where's the Hakeem Jeffries of the world? Where are all these people? Okay. Because they did their job and they want to keep their job. They still going to be on the ballot, and they don't want to go down with the sinking ship because Joe Biden didn't have a chance. He didn't have a chance. This man is the only president in American history that's literally under hospice care. Okay. He's not well. And for you Democrats to go out there and to somehow push the narrative that he's okay and he's fit, and Clyburn to go out and say he has a stutter problem, man, stop lying. The party is over. All things come to an end. The black man has abandoned the party. When I say black men, heterosexual black men has abandoned the party. There's no black man in his right mind that will go on the ballot box and click the ticket for Kamala Harris. The party of slavery has produced a bedwenching concubine. And the slaves are supposed to vote for the bedwenching concubine and master's daughter. And when I say bedwenching concubine, we got a possibly presidential candidate that slept her way to the top. Montel Williams, to name one, who was pretty much a mogul at the time with the Montel Williams show. He introduced her to the world. He used to take her on red carpet. This is Kamala. It's my girl Kamala. And then when she became, a public defender, the prosecutor, Willie Brown, she was a side piece, sleeping with a married man named Willie Brown, who was the mayor of San Francisco. Fact check that. So we got a hoe running for president who do not have any black children, who do not have any biological children, which means she's suspect. She could be a lesbian, possibly. She wears a whole lot of pantsuits. Okay, never seen her fly in a dress. She's kind of weird. And then she's been, she's with Doug, not Black Doug, White Doug, who's Jewish, and they met on a blind date. So somebody made an educated decision and said, you know what? I'm going to hook my lawyer friend Doug up. He's Jewish. You know, he's from LA, so they could get that money. So we're going to just hook them up. And now look what we have. And then what really broke my heart is when they had the LGBTQ Rainbow Pride Party at the White House. And standing next to Doug was a black man with a beard, with a lace front wig, and a sequins dress. And they was basically sitting back like they was normal, and they was playing gospel music. That's crazy. That's crazy. They done took the culture. They could have it. Okay. But we want our blackness back. Okay. We want our blackness back. And this is what we're going to do. So, man, this is what we're going to do. So, man, listen, man, if you haven't subscribed, hit those notifications. We're going to go in. We're going to handle our business. We're going to get a copy of the Project 2025, because I heard Clyburn talking about it this morning. And, it's a scare tactic for the Democratic Party. There's nothing that can happen in this country without checks and balances, meaning they got to go to the House floor. They got to go to the Senate floor, and it has to be signed into law. OK, so we talking about this. Like I said, you can't make this up. OK, you can't make this up. Democracy tried to kill their opponent. He didn't die. Could you imagine if I guess if you look at it in hindsight, if they did assassinate Trump and then Biden steps down and then they put Kamala Harris, that looks like it was the play, but we're going to just hold on to that because we got more dialogue moving forward. So we're going to handle that. So listen, man, God is amazing. And if you are voting for Trump, congratulations. We're going to cut a deal with the sitting president. Black men are seeking a new deal. So we're literally going to rig the election. And I'm going to go on record right now, and this is how we're going to do it. We're not voting for the bedwench concubine Kamala Harris. We're going to write in our God, okay? And what that's going to do is it's pretty much going to guarantee Trump being the president of the United States. And on Inauguration Day, the black delegation, okay, we're going to at least try to get 20%. And when you see Trump wins by a landslide, Biden came in a far second, and then Jesus Christ is going to be up there. That's us. And that's going to let the world know, the Republican Party know, let the world know that we are not or no longer supporting the Democratic Party ever again. Okay, because we have to deliver ourselves from democracy. Democracy should have died in 1865 when they lost the Civil War. But somehow, some way they did what they did. They assassinated Abraham Lincoln, who put away the Republican Abraham Lincoln, who actually put away $8 million of the Freedmen's Bank Bureau, put money away for the newly freed slaves. So this is why federal reparation will be on the table. We're going to share the wealth. Okay, because we don't want to beat Trump. We want to beat crime. We don't want to beat Trump. We want to beat illegal immigration. We don't want to beat Trump. We want to beat poverty. We don't want to beat Trump. We want to beat this terrible education system that's creating a prisoner pipeline. And we don't want to beat Trump. We want to beat the 13th Amendment by ratifying the 13th Amendment, meaning taking the criminalization clause off of it. And then we'll go on the history books because theocracy will be birthed. And democracy will be dead because you got a bedwenching concubine that's maybe on the ticket as the presidential candidate. And I guarantee you, nobody wants to be a running mate. Think about how weak we would look. Think about how, can you imagine her in the United Nations? She can't even have a conversation on a black college campus without, having clickbait and looking weird. Could you imagine? Nobody's going to take her serious. Okay, and like I said, Kendrick Lamar, they not like us. She clearly not like us. So, man, y'all have a beautiful day. Keep tapping in. I'm gonna be more consistent. Our youth camp is over, so I'm like I said, I might just start doing this every day around 8 o'clock on the West Coast. But like I said, I love y'all. You know, keep tapping in. And like I said, there's no way this bed wenching concubine, a hoe, gonna be the president of the United States. And like I said, I'm gonna lighten up a little bit because, like I said, you know, the democracy get rid of their opponents. So let me, you know, I'm gonna have to slide a little different. But what I'm saying is, who would be her running mate? Number one, Gavin Newsom will not, because like I said, he made sure they're gonna leave him alone because he signed Assembly Bill 1955, which means that you know teachers, you know, are not required to tell parents of their kids' sexual orientation. So if your son is leaving the house with some jeans on and a baseball cap, but then he goes to school and put on a dress and some lipstick, and he could be 6 years old, the teacher's not required to tell the parents. But if he get a C, a low grade, if he's talking out of turn, if he's being rude, yeah, but you won't tell the parent. And all of this is before puberty. And this is what I'm saying is that's democracy. Change your kids, you know, have to ask questions, you know, oh, I got two dads, just like Brittany Griner. They was like, yo, you're going to be a great mom. And Brittany Griner was like, pops, you ain't going to be no pops. You a mother. You like I said, and for a debate perspective, and I'm going to get off of here. There's no debate about gender. People say that gender's made up. Okay. Anything that comes after the XX and the XY chromosome is made up. God made male, God made female. Either you got a chest, a penis, or you got boobs or a vagina. Anything outside of that is male or female. So we already won. We just got to get rid ourselves from these weirdos and move forward. So like I said, we're seeking a new deal. And good luck to the Republican Party. More than likely, y'all will be in office, but we're going to cut a deal with y'all because look what they're doing to us. Democracy will get rid of their opponents, turn your son into a daughter, create an ecosystem of crime and poverty, mass incarceration, the whole nine. That's all democratic and it's all democracy, and it means ruled by the devil. So I don't have time for the comments today. So keep on tapping in, and I will basically, earmark some time where I will go into these comments. But man, y'all been with me this whole block, this whole hour, and it's pretty much too many to read right now. So, I love y'all. Thanks for tapping in. Thanks for tuning in. This is your man, Bushion Glover, Better Black America TV, Better Black America Talk Radio Show. Peace out. All right. I guess y'all don't want me to go. Let me see. Let me get in these comments. You've been doing this for an hour. Yeah. Let me see. I've been doing this for a whole hour. Yep. This man is insane. And hopefully that's in a good way. Hopefully that's in a good way. All right. Let me see here, man. You guys went crazy, these comments. I don't even want to start, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a great day, man. Peace out.